In today's class, let us discuss the poem Concord Hymn. It's written by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let me give an introduction about Ralph Waldo Emerson. He is a great poet, essayist, and transcendentalist. He is known for transcendentalism. Robert Frost, one of the greatest poets of America, he calls Ralph Waldo Emerson as one of the four greatest Americans of all time. Besides George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln. Emerson is also known as the most eloquent spokesman of New England transcendentalism. The principles he advocated, the theories he has expressed about transcendentalism makes him one of the most eloquent spokesmen of New England transcendentalism. Now let's come to the poem Concord Hymn. The poem is written to commemorate the soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the Battle of Concord. Actually, a memorial statue was instituted at the place where the Battle of Concord took place. During the American Revolutionary period, the people who lived in America, they wanted to have the freedom. They wanted to rule their own country as Americans. Hence, a civil war took place between the England and the people of America, the natives of America. In that war, the soldiers who were living in America, they fought against the Britishers, and the first shot was given by one of the minute men, that is the soldiers who are with less army, who are with less power, and that has become a great sensation in the history of America. And hence many soldiers lost their lives, and that battle is known as Battle of Concord. To celebrate their heroic deed, this memorial statue was instituted at Concord. Concord is a place, it's a town in Boston, in the northwest of Boston, Massachusetts, in America. It is known for the American Revolutionary War sites. Let's deal with the poem. What is the theme of the poem? And how many stanzas the poem has? The poem has 4 stanzas. It also talks about spiritual vision. Apart from Revolutionary War, the strong, the indomitable spirit, the heroic attitude of the farmers, it is all reflected in this poem. The poem is very practical. It's a very simple poem, easy to understand, and it has aphoristic expression. Aphoristic means concise expression, a brief expression, and the poem is called a memorial. It is a remembrance, and it recollects the brave attitude of the soldiers. And one of the writers has critically or described or appreciated this poem as listening the hymn is like going to heaven in swing. Let me repeat. Listening the hymn is like going to heaven in swing. T.S. Eliot, he called this poem Concord Hymn as perhaps one of the finest gems that make up American literature, that paints an artistic picture of what this country was built on. Robert Frost, he says, if Emerson had left us nothing else, he would be remembered for the monument at Concord that he glorified with lines surpassing any other ever written about soldiers. Such was the appreciations given by T.S. Eliot and Robert Frost about this poem. What is the setting of this poem? The poem is, it's a lyrical poem, and in this poem, the dominant portrayal of war front is seen. It's a war poem. Actually, the term Concord means agreement or harmony between people or groups. The poem is written or presented on July 4, 1837 at the completion of the battle monument. It speaks about a harmony attained after things went berserk, when things were out of control. A volatile period has existed during the American Revolutionary War period. At that time, after that period, a harmony has taken place, and the poem speaks about that harmony. The poem was sung in dedication to the obelisk. Obelisk means a tapering stone pillar, a monument in Concord, Massachusetts, that commemorates the Battle of Concord and the American Revolution that broke out in 1775. The setting Concord was the dwelling place of the poet, coincidentally. Our poet, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he also lived there. Look at the picture. The small, minute man statue was erected inscribed at the base of the minute man statue. In 1925, US government, it released a 5-cent stamp to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the battle. Now let us deal with the stanzas about the poem. The first stanza. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmer stood and fired the shot heard around the world. By the rude bridge. The poet calls the bridge rude because it has witnessed the Revolutionary War. And their flag to April's breeze unfurled. It is the season, it is in the month of April, and the cool breeze made the flag to unfurl. And here once the embattled farmer stood. Embattled means involved or prepared for war. The farmers who are prepared for war, they stood there and fired the shot, and it was heard around the world. And here the poet says, on the walled north bridge in Concord over the river, the farmers stood ready for battle in April 1775. They fired the first shot in the War of Independence. It created history and sensation among the rest of the world. Farmer soldiers are remembered for their courage and heroism. And side by side, along with the stanza, I have given the explanation. The place with a bridge that withstood, proud against all the floods, had an army of farmers who marked the beginning of the greatest revolution of all the times. The flag of independence unfurled in the April breeze, giving the soldiers strength to fight against the trained British troops. The second stanza. The second stanza speaks about forgotten glory. The foe means enemy. The foe long since in silence slept, alike the conqueror silent sleeps, and time the ruined bridge has swept down the dark stream with seaward creeps. The enemy who fought in the war has no more, and the conqueror who fought in the war, they are also no more. And they are all silent, they are sleepy. And the time that ruined the bridge has swept, and the time has ruined the bridge. Everything was ruined. Only the river was flowing towards the seawards. Everything is forgotten. This is the scenario. With time, the explanation goes like this. With time, the bridge stopped being recognized, and the memory it stood slowly faded into oblivion. And it was not remembered. It was faded. Though the revolution that had impact around the world began here, the entire world forgot its significance. Neither the conqueror nor the foe any longer remembered its existence. It was left unattended and unrecognized. Once the Battle of Concord created sensation and history among the rest of the world because the minute soldiers, they rose to action. They fought against the mighty Britishers, and the people began to praise them, how dare they are. But in course of time, only the bridge was there, it was ruined, and everything was forgotten. It has become a forgotten glory. The third stanza, it speaks about martyrs and monuments. On this green bank, by the soft stream, we set today a votive stone that memory may their deed redeem when like our sires, our sons are gone. Here in the third stanza, as people began to know that the glory was forgotten, they wanted to make the rest of the world to know about its glory again, to regain, to remember its great deed. Hence, what they did, they made a votive stone on this green bank. Here goes the explanation. Third stanza speaks of how efforts are taken to redeem this forgetfulness through the installation of a monument beside the stream, that is river, in remembrance of the martyrs. Martyr means a person who dies for a great cause is known as a martyr. And the ideals that they stood for which set fire for the greatest of all revolutions. The monument shall be a reminder to the generation that shall come after the living exponents of the revolution or long dead. Fourth stanza. It talks about heroes of all times. Spirit that made those heroes dare to die and leave their children free. Bid time and nature gently spare the shaft we raise to them and thee. See, the indomitable spirit, the great courageous spirit that made those heroes dare to do into action, to die. Even they prepare to die and they leave their children free. Why they prepare to die? For freedom. They wanted to make their generations to be a free nation. And the time has been, time has given farewell, and nature gently spared. Nature has been moving on. The shaft we raise to them and thee. What we are doing, we are remembering. We remember their sacrifice. We remember their greatness. We remember their glory. Says the fourth stanza. Here goes the explanation. The men had taken arms to defend their land and independence, to leave their children a secure, free world. They had died to let their future generation live. Such heroes are to be revered beyond time and remembered in every breath. Therefore, the speaker asks the nature and its dwellers to preserve the monument that was built as a reminder to the sacrifice of those brave men and not let those ideals die into obscurity with time. Thank you. I hope you understood the poem. Thank you.